Welcome back to Punch Drunk Nerd, the podcast where three friends, three amigos, three bambinos, and one cat here to my left talk about nerd shit. And guess what, guys? It's our 100th episode. 100! It's me, Luis Gonzalez, and here this is Socks. And who else do we got?
Miguel Sanchez.
And Deadpool.
That's right, everybody. This is our 100th episode. This is my cat. Say goodbye, Socks.
Mwah.
And we are here to celebrate our 100th episode. We have a feature discussion with Roadhouse, the movie with Jake Gyllenhaal. But before we do that, we have to talk about our 100th episode. Guys, we did it. We did 100 episodes. We can now go on syndication on TV. We can go on TBS. We can go on TNT. Watch out. Here comes Punch Drunk Nerd. Guys, how are you feeling?
I can't believe we've done it. You know what I mean?
We're so old.
All right, we're going to move on to our next discussion here.
No.
That's all you're giving me, guys?
I can't believe we're here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Think about that very first episode to today. You know what I mean? You remember when, like, Luis, you were like all nervous to be like, oh, how do I start? You know what I mean?
I was.
And now it's like it's ingrained in all of our memories. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did different introductions. If you listen to those first couple episodes, I always started out in a different way, and then we finally locked into kind of like the rinse and repeat type of situation.
And closeouts. We've been through a journey of closeouts too. Like for a while, thanks to Avatar, we had a great one, but it kind of well, it was a mix of Avatar and Black Panther 2, right?
No,
no. Well, I see you like with the gesture.
Oh, yes. Sorry, my bad. That was on me. My bad. I thought you were talking about and then Moon Knight was the other one. That's why we say later gators.
Later gators. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was from the TV show Moon Knight because our boy Moon Knight says it. And then I tried to introduce a new one, mixing the bear and Barbie together. Remember, cousin, you are Knuff. Remember that one? That was short-lived.
That was good. That was good though.
That was not bad, right?
Ed didn't want to keep it going. You know what I mean?
The bear. No.
It's okay, cousin. It's
it didn't
okay.
roll off the tongue. Whatever.
We learned that Ed hated the bear. We also
one of my favorite episodes.
That was one of my favorite moments of our podcast. Do you guys remember how like Ed was like heated on that episode?
And you know what's funny is I had notes in my iPhone saying Ed will love this show, and boy, I was wrong.
Man, he wanted to like kill us all. Do you remember? I had to be like,
kill us all.
I had to be like,
kill myself.
breathe, catch your breath.
Oh man, I was like angry when like Sarah came home and I was watching the finale of season 1. I was just like, fuck this show. I shouldn't feel this angry after watching a show.
But that's what media makes you do. It makes you feel, Ed. Do you not want to make you feel? You love crying in movies.
I don't want to feel.
Don't you want to be angry
crying,
afterwards?
No, I just want to be sad.
You just want to walk out.
I want to be sad. I want to be angry for a purpose. Like, there is no purpose to the bear. I'm not angry for anyone. I'm angry at everyone in that show. So...
Well, that's uncalled for.
But anyway, it was a fun episode. I could not ever relive it, like, as far as listening to it. I was too, like, ashamed and also just, like, again, just angry.
I loved how heated you got, to be honest.
I just feel...
You didn't like that side of yourself.
No, exactly. I was just like... And I thought I was justified, but no, everybody loves that fucking show.
I will say we got a lot of engagement from... A lot, you know what I mean? We got a lot of engagement from that. Like, people were chiming in. They were like, I don't understand the bear. I hate that they make it... It feels... I think it was Kelly who was like, it feels like Fast and Furious and... the restaurant industry or whatever. Like, it was a bunch of
interesting.
Like,
okay,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, she was like, it's not really like that. I don't know why.
It's
like
so
that.
funny because I met other people in the restaurant business say to me, "Have you seen The Bear? It's like the restaurant business, man." And so I'm getting two different like accounts, testimonies of people's personal experience.
It's very divisive. You land on one side or the other. You know.
It's like cilantro. You either like it or you hate it.
You either like it or you hate it.
Yeah.
I love cilantro, by the way. I have it for basically every meal.
Is cilantro. Put down the poster. It's cilantro. You might like it, you might hate it. It's not funny, but
Hey, do you like cilantro, Ed?
I love cilantro.
Thank God. Okay. Luis?
I don't like cilantro, no.
Fuck you.
It says
Fuck
it
you,
tastes bad. My mom doesn't like it either. She makes a pico de gallo, she leaves the cilantro out.
Well, with
Oh,
respect,
wow.
I won't be having that. Okay.
With respect, my mother deserves all
respect
the respect.
To your mother, I will.
We
not
also
be
learned a
eating
lot
it.
about Spider-Man throughout this podcast, right? Spider-Man 2 was a
my
huge
God.
talking point in this podcast.
I talked about that way too much. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay.
Tune in next week. We're going to talk more about the DLC for Spider-Man 2.
Man, it's just like that thing had legs for me in my house, dude. We still play it. You know what I mean?
As you should. You guys pay a lot of money for these games. You should continue to play them.
That's true. That's
to be
true.
fair.
I feel like I got my money's worth on the first.
As long as, well, yeah, of course. But it's nice to know that, you know, it was that worthwhile. It wasn't all hype at the beginning, and you know, like, yeah. I'm glad it was good for you.
What else?
I wish it was good for me too.
No, I think it's been great. I feel like we've kind of kept the same-ish format of like news, feature discussion, what we're into. We kind of do these special episodes. We introduced rankings now, but we'll just have ranking episodes every time we watch a new movie, like a legacy director.
We were the first podcast that did that.
The first one.
We were the very first ones, and you guys are welcome. Yeah, that's what you joined this podcast.
You thought
for.
you couldn't put like movies or people in order? You fucking can.
Letterboxd was taking notes. You know what I mean? They were like, "Hold on, we can make a website out of this." Rankings?
Yes, please. I was trying to recollect like some of my favorite moments, and I don't think one can top the morning I woke up to a voicemail from Miguel Sanchez following a viewing of Barbie.
Yeah.
That was a fun discussion afterwards. I know that wasn't like on the air or whatever, but it
was on our Instagram. It got on our Instagram,
and we did an episode of it, but it was I was just like that whole, and what a wild time we lived through was Barbenheimer, you know.
We did that. We were here for
Luis
that.
didn't like Oppenheimer right away.
No,
so
but we were recording during that time. You know what I mean? We were like
we were
finger
on
the
it
pulse.
too.
We were.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Some more than others. Me.
It's crazy. 100. That's so many episodes. I can't believe we like committed to that many episodes.
Top 10 episodes go.
The summer movie box office was the first time we did it, and Ed won. Congratulations, Ed. I won the second one. And then Luis, though, you're on that first one, you were like, Buzz Lightyear is going to be the number one movie of the year.
Man, they really fucked up on that movie, huh?
Dang, I feel like we taught ourselves hard lessons during that first round. You know what I mean?
I didn't learn any. I got cocky. I was just like,
dumb fuck.
Let me overanalyze.
But then the next year, we didn't learn either, because the next year we were like, The Flash?
Yes. Luis, next year will be your year.
Oh, yeah. Now all the pressure is on me. No, I feel like year 5 or 6 is going to be my year. I could feel it.
I tell you what, the most insufferable thing that could happen is Ed winning next year. If Ed wins next year, it'll be done.
Luis,
you guys thought I was bad.
This is kind of like we're all familiar with Brooklyn Nine-Nine. This is like our Halloween episode. Like, I was the original Amazing Human / Genius. Then Miguel took the title the following year. Now, Luis, you got to take the award for Amazing Human / Genius.
I really have to work really hard. I'm going to study all these movies. I'm going to learn about the industry. I'm going to learn
just go
about
with vibes.
Oh, I'll just go by vibes.
As we saw, babes. Let's go.
Ed went by technique that first year, and then Miguel, you went by vibes the second year. So really, any strategy can
some
win
sort of
you
combination of both.
Yeah.
Wow.
We should shout. If we could just keep talking about favorite moments for a little bit.
Yeah.
I just want to talk about engagement. I talked about Kelly Lopres, but also I know I've said it before, but Eric Jew. You know what I mean? That's his last name. That's his last name, Eric. These guys, they comment on a lot of our posts. They check in with us. Like Eric, especially, like when we post that we're not having an episode this week, like he's almost the first to be like, he's like, you fucks, no. But I've had a really good time like engaging with him online, more so since then. But also just like all the people that have followed us, like family and friends that interact with our like quizzes and our posts. Shout out Sarah and Sarah, you know what I mean? Like both of them in their own ways really engage with us. Like Sarah is really Cortez is really good about commenting on our posts. And Sarah Meyer is really good about listening to our full episodes. Like she'll chime in and she'll start a conversation with us sometimes. I'll be like, where are you coming from with this? She's like, oh, I just listened to the episode. And you're like, hell yeah.
That's what Sarah likes to do, is just like hit you randomly, but like she'll get you on the same page.
Ready to go. So no, these are just
Kristen helping our algorithm on all our streaming or podcast.
She gives me guidance. She's one of the reasons I won the summer movie box office last year. Okay, we worked together on that list. Okay, so I was really glad for that. But no, I mean, we're getting a lot of engagement. There's one more thing I was going to mention. If it comes to my brain right now, it is. Oh fuck it, it'll come back to me later. But
Steven was another. He was a big listener that we finally brought in, and he's been a great fourth
crowd favorite.
Yeah.
Francesca, also a guest, 2-time guest.
Yes.
Yeah, we should get her on again. She was fun.
We should.
Yeah, whenever we start feeling up to a Marvel movie or something.
I think two of my favorite episodes in just overall was when we surprised Luis for his birthday.
Oh, that was a really good episode.
A really fun
That was
episode.
a rough memory for me, but I'm glad it went down.
It all came together, dude.
I had no surprise when you did it for my birthday. I had no surprise what was happening. Like I didn't know what was gonna. It was great.
And it was also one of your best thumbnails. You know what I mean? Like for our episode, you know what I mean, dude?
I work hard on the thumbnails, everybody.
They're all really good, though.
Yeah,
but that one was, I think, the best.
We originally had like a different format where I just simplified it. It was like, I don't know, talk and react, text, and it was just 2 still images. And then I finally changed it to the yellow, like everybody knows the yellow thumbnail.
I love our color scheme now.
And I went back and changed all the old episodes into the new I created new thumbs for the older episodes, and I tried to match the color scheme a little bit but make it pop. And so every time we put up a thumbnail, there's a lot of thought going into what goes where, what's being placed. You know.
I will say Ed and I we have put in more work on the podcast than when we first started the very first episode. You know what I mean? But I mean, the only reason anyone listening right now is listening is because Luis he fucking wrangles this shit together. So I mean,
100%.
shout out,
producer, director.
I feel like I have to put in the work because sometimes when I hear an episode with just you two, I'm like, damn, they're really good. They just want to enjoy.
We vibe. We vibe. That's just because Ed and I have known each other for like 20 years now.
Yeah.
So
I think it was the iPhone episode, maybe last year. You guys were talking about some new iPhone updates.
Yes.
That was a good episode, and I enjoyed that one. I was like, damn, they're really good. We don't need
Oh, man. Dude, speaking of this was... Hang on, just real quick. My second favorite episode was the live one. Not the live one, but when we were all together this last Christmas.
Yes.
One of my favorite moments ever is when we were doing the scandals at the end of that episode, and we were talking about Joe Jonas, and we kept trying to figure out his name, and Ed was like Joe, and I was like Joe, and he was like Joe. And I was like Joe, okay? It's fucking Joe Jonas, dude. But also a surprise hit that we should really highlight is that solo episode that Ed did.
Oh, yes.
Where he fucking did
under a tree.
He did rankings the entire episode all by himself. That shit was hilarious.
He ranked fruit and cheese.
And cheese.
I got drunk enough to get emotional about like tear jerking moments and shit like that. That was just sad.
I sat the whole family down for that episode.
No,
my wife, son, and me all sat down, and I was like, "We're watching this shit right now."
No.
That was a great episode.
Oh man, I'm still waiting on you guys' solos.
Whoa.
That'll be fun.
Challenge.
Now it's a new 100, so one of us has to do it. Every 100th episode, we have to have a solo episode.
At least one. Yep. All right.
I want to shout out that one music video I did on a Doctor Strange this year. I think it's our highest. I think it's our highest viewed video.
It's like 6,000 views or something on YouTube.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's pretty high up there for what our small little podcast of 100 followers.
Okay,
number one comment: why did you use
Nickelback's
Hero?
It's like they missed the whole vibe of what we were doing.
It's a real thinker, to be honest. You have to be like, well,
what?
It was like general knee-jerk reaction is like, ew.
Sam Raimi directed the first Spider-Man, and in that first Spider-Man, Hero was the theme song of Spider-Man. Well, Sam Raimi came back to direct a new Marvel movie, so obviously I had to reincorporate the song Hero.
But not only for just a bit, it is ridiculously edited.
It slaps.
I mean, there are some of the best shots ever compiled together. There was one, I can't remember the line in the song, but the song says something about like looking at me or something like that. Mm-hmm. And right as he says that line, like Elizabeth Olsen looks at the camera, you know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, I get chills just thinking about that. That was such a great... Y'all, go to our YouTube.
It was more memorable than the actual movie.
It is, yeah.
That's 100%. That's for sure. Okay, so no offense, Sam Raimi, okay?
Yeah, we love you, Sam, but...
I was hounding down the clips and trailers as much as they went, because sometimes they'll release these like international clips or international trailers that you can't usually find. And like the Super Bowl trailer was different than the trailer that they released afterwards, you know?
Yeah.
So they had to hunt down the Super Bowl trailer. That used to be our number one popular video. Our most popular video is actually 10,000 views. And it's Every Fuck Off by Logan Roy, season 1 to 4 Succession. And let me tell you, I had this in mind. I wanted to do this video, and I wasn't expecting him to die so soon in succession. So when he did, I was like, fuck, and I just ran. I was like, sorry, I have to stay up and edit this video because I knew everyone would want to see it. And lo and behold, it's our most popular video. And
it's one of our best
34
TikTok
seconds
videos.
long.
Our TikTok, I think it got like 14,000 views. You know what I mean?
Oh, damn, really?
Yeah. I mean, that's from a while back. It might have gone up since then. But I've also seen videos since then that I think they're using our video, but Luis tells me they're not. But I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is ours. You know what I mean?
No, they're not. I could tell by the pacing of the cut. I think it's
judged to
as far as like most popular episode we've ever done. We did our most popular episode covers Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, that was a big one, and that was to the algorithm, man. Like we just like it was the right time that people were talking about that we released that episode.
Yeah,
and it's tough. It's tough catching that wave sometimes.
It is. Then it was followed up by Godzilla -1.
Nice.
That was their discussion. That was my car episode where I was driving in traffic to be on the podcast.
Right?
That was just me and you.
People crave variety.
Godzilla -1 was big at the time too. I think everybody was kind of looking for that.
It was building momentum. It just got it got an extended release. I think that after we talked about it.
Wow.
Because we talked about it. They're
Crazy.
like, these guys like this. Yeah,
let me ask you all our thumbs. We've done a lot of good stuff, guys. I'm very proud of everything we've done together.
Also, Luis, sometimes you bring out costumes that we don't expect. Like I remember the holdovers episode we did, the holiday episode.
What did I bring? What did I wear?
In the middle of talking, all of a sudden you threw on a Santa's hat. I was like, oh, okay. Here we are.
Right. I did do that.
Man, what are some of the other ones? Sometimes you come dressed to impress. You know what I mean? And that's why tonight I texted. I was like, are we dressing up a certain way? Because sometimes I'm just in my hoodie. Like I just want to be comfy. Yeah. But then y'all show up and I'm like, oh, okay.
The one time we were in sync before was the first Oscars episode. We all got in our nice suit and ties.
Oh, man.
And it's actually the YouTube banner on our YouTube page. That's us.
Right. Yeah.
Looking nice in our suits here.
Those first few episodes, I tried to take my glasses off when we recorded, and I ended up just being like, "Hey guys, welcome to the pod." I couldn't see shit.
I did do face paint one time.
You did do face
paint. The Avatar one? Is that what that was?
No, Quantum Mania. I did
Kang.
What? I did those scars that he had. Yeah. Man, I haven't done a face paint in a while. I'll do that again.
The people want it. Okay, they're clamoring.
Speaking of all these like themes and us wearing stuff, we are also wearing Roadhouse themed shirts, buttons down. We're rocking the Jake Gyllenhaal vibe here. We're going to talk about Roadhouse later. If you want us to hear us talk about Roadhouse, go down our description. It has the time code. But we're going to keep talking about our 100th episode unless that's all we want to talk about.
While we're talking about it, also people should comment on our Instagram, on our YouTube, whatever. Let us know what were some of your favorite moments on these last 100 episodes. What was the first episode you listened to? You know what I mean?
What was the only episode you listened to?
Yeah. Well, I mean, is this the first one? Or, were you here from day one? Or where along the journey did you join us? I think that'd be fun to know. So let us know.
Wow, Miguel, that was a really good question. I really like that.
Hey,
you're a real seasoned podcaster now.
I'm just saying I've done it before, right?
This episode is brought to you by Punch Drunk Nerd. Please like and subscribe to us if you do like us. All of that apparently goes a long way. So review it in the podcast app, subscribe, all of those things. We are tiny but strong. That's not how the saying goes.
You have a person who comments on our YouTube videos sometimes.
Yeah. Henry Kaufman.
Shout out, Henry.
Henry to
Big H.
Darian Hunt, who also
he hasn't commented
some feedback. He hasn't commented in a while.
He was really good. He was really good in the beginning about engaging with us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was like one of the first that really made an effort.
Yeah, no, and I'm sure he's still out there listening.
I also shout out to all the people that we were like, we have a podcast, and they were just very bluntly like, we're not going to listen to this.
Listen, I get it. I really don't. Do you remember I used to do those promotions on my Instagram profile? I used to make little skits and be like, oh, we have a podcast this Friday, like on my personal Instagram. Like I would go into my car and be like, I'm scared. Also, we have a podcast. Or I stopped doing those, but also because I didn't want to be annoying to my own people who follow me on my Instagram profile. I also don't want to push the podcast on people too much. It's like I want randos to listen, to be honest.
You reminded me of a really good moment from your birthday episode when is his name Nick? Is that right?
Yeah.
Where he was like, everyone knew that we were doing the podcast that night because I had contacted everyone to be like, hey, we're surprising Luis or whatever. Yeah. And he was like, oh, what do you got going on tonight? And you lied to him.
I did lie to him.
You were like, oh, I'm just hanging out at home. We're chilling. Nothing going on.
Go into a whole spiel.
He had such a good reaction. He was like, oh, I thought we were friends, but I guess he doesn't want to tell me about his podcast.
It just opens a whole discussion,
I get that because I have only recently kind of started telling outside people in my life, I do a podcast. And only because we've done so many of them that I'm
now we're established. It's not like we're trying to start a podcast. We've been doing it.
Yeah, I'm like, listen, I mean, it's a product and you're going to either like it or not. But yeah, we do it. You know what I mean? At the beginning, I was like, I want to fucking die every time we record.
Okay. The episode that I was not there for, you guys had to do the intro. And I still have the footage saved somewhere, but you're like, okay, here we go. No, let's do it again. You had to hype yourself up to do the intro
because that was the first time you were gone, and it was like, man, he makes it look so easy. And yeah, it was real tricky.
It was a good time. It made me feel good. I was like, yeah, it is hard.
I do want to shout out while we're still thinking about it. We did have one of your friends join us for the
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka, was it?
Yes.
Yeah, it was Ahsoka.
Yeah, Tim.
There you go. Shout out to Tim. Thanks for joining us on that. There was someone else. I just lost it. Oh, idiot. Never mind. Sorry. It'll come back to me, person. But we're still grateful.
Tim was great. He loves Ahsoka, so he was a great person to bring on board to talk about that. And shout out to the people who just put us on in the background as they're working. I think that's the best way to go. Someone tells me they put it on when they're drawing, they put it on when they're just doing whatever.
Drunk.
No.
They put us on when they're drunk.
5 shots in a podcast. I appreciate you.
Maybe get drunk and listen to this podcast. Maybe it'll come across better. Yeah,
that's what we're doing the entire time.
Get on that level. Yeah.
There have been episodes where I have to ask the next day, did we get to the end of the episode? Yes, Miguel, we did. I'm like, okay, good. Because I feel like shit. I just want to make sure we landed. Ed, who are you thinking?
John Carter, who is married to Sarah's cousin. we were talking about just like, gradually telling people. I didn't tell anybody in Sarah's extended family at all. But he came up to me at Christmas and he was like, "Dude, I listened to your podcast." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool, nice."
Shout out.
And we hadn't discussed it before or anything like that.
John Carter.
John Carter.
Of Mars.
Of Mars.
Disney's John Carter.
And it was just like a fun little surprise.
You want to know who listened to who listened to our podcast? My therapist. I've been talking to my therapist. Well, we're not. He's not.
Was
it like homework? You know what I mean?
No,
He was like, "Well, I need to make sure I know."
I no longer see him anymore. But I talked about my podcast. I talked about my life with him. Obviously, he's like, "Well, I got this podcast, blah blah blah," and then like a couple weeks later, he was like, "Hey, I listened to your podcast. It's pretty good. You guys are great. You guys sound professional." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you so much."
Shout out.
Nice.
So that was a nice surprise to hear as well.
That's cool.
Our whole setup got a lot better. Like we all have mics now. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes. Courtesy again of Luis. I don't know why I rolled my eyes. I'm very grateful.
No, he hates you, fucking Luis. He wishes you were dead.
We're constantly striving to be better. In a couple of episodes' time, I will have a background, just like you guys.
We love it.
I
want a different one.
My boy,
I want one that look at this.
You want like a simple one, like this one, right?
Yeah, that's what I would prefer.
I'm also trying to see if I can get us to be streaming while we're doing this, but that's going to take a little more effort. Like, do like a live episode, like just let this stream out.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that at some point.
Kristen has been telling me on her own. God love her. Okay, there you go. She's been like, Miguel, because I've been playing so much Fortnite. She was like, Miguel, she's so sweet. She's like, "Oh, you do so good, babe. Like, you should Twitch. You should like stream on Twitch." You know what I mean? And I was like, man, me and Luis did talk about that forever ago.
We did, yeah. I mean, there is a Punch Drunk Nerd Twitch account. I made it when we first started this podcast.
We just got to do it.
So we could totally set it up if you ever wanted to. Just go on there and just play.
If you guys want to see us on Twitch, you let us know down below in the comments. If I get 5 comments saying
that is the most comments we've ever gotten in a video. If we get 5, that's a lot.
5's a lot. I'm not asking. You remember when Rita Ora tweeted, "If I get 100,000 retweets, I'll release my new song next week," and then she got almost none. And then she was like, "My account got hacked, you guys. Cybersecurity's important."
No, it didn't.
You guys don't know. Y'all don't know that pop culture ref? Come on, y'all got to be on the internet, dude.
Remember when your wife was like, maybe you should just stick with video games? Remember that one time you said that?
But she knew what she was talking about. You know what I mean?
But hey, video games and pop culture, you're the one.
I'm the guy, dude. I'm ready to go.
That was remember when Miguel had to run his own episode and the feature discussion was just a discussion about, what's his name's fashion?
Oh, Donald Glover. Oh God, that episode.
That was a recent
one. That was. I was really trying to do something there. That one didn't land the way I wanted it to. But you know what?
It was a visual experience.
You try some things, and they work. They don't work.
I mean, I don't always have to talk about movies and TV and games.
That's what I was like. Let me try something. Let me try something fun.
No, you tried a thing. I had fun doing it. Whatever. It was like flattering to me. I got to, in my mind, wear the clothes that Donald Glover wears on the reg.
Ed's got some serious fashion sense. So
I like this though because I wanted us to nerd out about more stuff. I mean, we'd say we're going to talk about nerd shit. I say it every week, but really we're just talking about movies and some video games. I mean,
that's
movies,
right.
TV, and some video games. Like I want to nerd out about like books and music and tabletop and food and clothes
on occasion. Fellas,
I have shouted out books too.
Oppenheimer.
Oh my God! If you talk about that goddamn Oppenheimer book one more time,
I think I'm a.
He's looking at it. He's looking at it right now. He's looking at it. Yeah, he's like in there.
My Alexander books too.
Oh my God!
I recommended 2 books here too, as well.
You did,
Fokker? Yes.
Fokker. Lego. We talk about Lego sometimes.
We talk about Legos. That's right. I remember I tried to make a Lego video. When I built that Batman.
Oh yeah. Oh man, those early social media posts,
Yeah.
like we were really trying something, and that was all Luis. Like Luis really trying to just give us content. You know what I mean? And I need to get back on that. And now that we're getting back onto it again,
we finessed it too. We're more of we know who we are, kind of.
Man, after the Super Bowl, I posted something on TikTok and we got like 2,000 views like in 10 minutes. And I thought we were about to blow up. I was like, oh my God, it's going to hit 1 million. And I mean,
this is Home Depot. We want a sponsorship with you.
Yeah. Like 35 minutes later, it petered out pretty quick. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, well, still. And then I was like on a high, and I was like, the next TikTok I release, it's going to get even more views. And it got the least we've ever gotten, probably. So we're just like a baby little podcast. Look at us. We just turned like, you know what I mean? It's like turning 100 episodes, you know?
I want to see what our longest episode, but I can't find our longest episode, but I found our episode with the least amount of views.
People have told us before that, hey, these episodes are kind of long.
Have they told you that?
I mean, didn't Carolyn say something to you about that?
Oh, Carolyn did say that. Yeah.
Shout out
some
Carolyn.
People like long episodes. Some people say that keep it longer. I like it. We have no consensus. Sometimes they're 41 minutes. Sometimes they're an hour and a half. Sometimes they're 2 hours and 45 minutes. Who knows how long this podcast is going to be? You do, because you can look down at the timer down below. Man, good times. All right.
Good times in friendship.
That was great. Can I wait? Sorry, one last question, and then we'll be done.
Okay.
Did you guys think when we talked about this like a year before we actually did the podcast, and we were kind of goofing with the idea? And then we actually did that first episode. Did you guys think when we did that first episode, hey, this is gonna we're gonna do it. We're gonna do 100 episodes of this at least. Did you guys think that, or were you guys like, I don't know how this is gonna go?
Yeah.
I'll be honest. You want me to be honest? I thought we were not going to do 100 episodes. Okay. With respect to my friends who I love dearly, I just myself and my own insecurities, I was like, we're going to try this. And I bet in a few weeks, we're going to be like, hey guys, I'm busy. Like me
and Miguel had done the podcast thing previously.
We had, and
it was a long time ago though. But it was like we were still young, dumb.
Yeah, and that's a totally different thing. That was different. You know what I mean?
No, of course. But I'm just saying, like,
I don't have ill feelings.
I came into that. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, with that, I came into this with just kind of varied expectations,
trepidation. You know?
Yeah, just
I was nervous asking you guys to do the podcast because you guys already did a podcast. And we were talking so much, and I was just like, guys, can we just do a podcast? And this was probably in November, October. And then we said, okay, we can. Let's just wait till next year. Yeah, because we aligned it with Batman on February or March, I think. Mm-hmm. And
we spent like January through March, like kind of prepping it. Like I remember we had a lot of meetings. We were doing a lot of like, let's look at the font of our logo. You know what I mean? And that was really fun too. That was like one of the best 45 minutes ever of my life. I was like, dude, this is great. Like this is who we are. And it ended up really, I love it that we stuck with it. I was going to say something a second ago, but I don't know. I felt nervous at first. I remember every episode feeling like, God, I don't know. I feel like I'm fucking it up. La da 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 da.
I remember after the first episode, we texted each other. We were like, "I love you. That was the best thing in the world." You know, like we had so much fun.
Yeah.
And I feel like every episode afterward, I always feel grateful for it.
When we moved into our apartment here in Colorado, and we were doing it really regularly, maybe like episode like somewhere around episode 50. 25 to 50, somewhere in there. Like I remember feeling like, oh, okay, we're finding our groove. Like it's less question mark every episode and more like, okay, just fill in the blanks, you know? We'll do it.
Ooh, well said.
You know?
Yeah.
And I 100 episodes ago, I probably didn't feel as confident in it, but here we are now. Like I'm like, let's go every week. You know?
I agree. I had high hopes, and I kind of I felt like we could reach the 100 episodes. We just had to kind of pace ourselves. You know, we had to take it little by little, and we added
didn't put too much pressure on ourselves, I think, which was important. I think when we do that, we give ourselves unrealistic expectations, and then it just kind of falls apart.
Yeah.
But I feel like like you said, we kind of just
loosey goosey.
Yeah, you know? Just eased into it. We got
slowly added more things to it. Yeah,
took things away. Yeah, you know, we found the balance. There was one time that we started doing like a timer on segments.
Oh yeah,
I fucking hated that. I'm so glad we got rid of that.
It had merit though. Like we were like, we're doing these long ass episodes. Maybe we can hone it in a little bit.
Like 3 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going longer than a Scorsese flick these days.
Yeah.
But
we naturally
but sometimes we're just vibing, and that's when it's like really
like
fun.
imagine if I was like, Ed, stop talking, we're done, moving on. Luis, go ahead. That would suck, you know what I mean?
It felt like that, yeah. It's just like but yeah, no, I mean we have our moments, but yeah, when we're like I said, when we're vibing, can't stop us.
That's right. Yeah, we used to overstack our news segment. We used to have like 50 things, and like, God damn, we don't have time to go through all.
And
of
then
this.
all those fucking trailers too.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to fill the document, baby.
Ed's like,
you really are.
Sometimes
sometimes I'm busy, and Ed goes in there and fills it up with things to talk about, which I appreciate. Ed.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to take anything away, but I just assumed like that was the task of the week. It's like, hey, well, if we see shit, put it on the dock. But I'm always down to do what you guys want to do.
Same.
Love you
I feel
guys.
like we a lot of times if somebody has an idea, we're very much like, yeah, let's just try it and see what happens.
Oh, can I talk about one more favorite moment that I just thought of?
Yeah.
When Luis was getting married, we came together and decided that we were going to film like 4 mini episodes, and release them over time. So we recorded all of them in one night, and I kind of had this idea like, hey, we should change clothes like every episode so it gives it something new. And I thought you guys were going to be like, Miguel, fucking shut up, okay? Like, stop. We're just going to record these and go to bed. We're tired. But everyone was ready to go. And like at the end of a segment, we would take a quick minute and we'd come back and it'd be like, damn, we all look different. We all look ready to go, I love that. I love that. Listen, no one yes ands more than Ed. You know what I mean? He's the improv king. So even in the fucking moment, even in this moment, Ed, I'm setting you up and you were like, no. 100 episodes, you guys.
You tricked me. That's bullshit.
We're 35 minutes deep or however long into this episode. Do we want to do news? Listen, we don't even know what we're going to talk about. We've done this so long.
Let's just jump into Roadhouse.
Let's jump into Roadhouse. You feel okay about that, Ed?
Ed looks disappointed.
I was just thinking, like, what was in the news? 2 things that nobody elaborated on, but I didn't put on there. And then there was the Spider-Verse short, and then I remembered I didn't even end up watching that. So it's all good. It's all gravy.
I want to say one thing before we move on to the future discussion. How about this?
Okay.
Kinds of Kindness, the Yorgos Lanthimos new movie coming out with Emma Stone. Trailer released, and the one thing I noticed is just how the cinematography looks really different compared to Poor Things and The Favorite. Same cinematographer. I'm already hooked in on like the hard colors, the nice contrast, the saturation. I like the look of that trailer, and it feels different than his other movies. Yeah, and it's not just like
you're taking the words like right out of my mouth. Contemporary, different than the other movies. Like that's exactly how I felt watching that trailer.
Like even The Lobster and what was the other one with Nicole Kidman?
Killing of the Sacred Deer.
Killing of the Sacred Deer. A lot of those felt more muted and a little bit colder, and this one was just.
He's like finding his like fun,
This is he's like it feels like a funner A24-ish like movie.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the only thing I wanted to call out was the kinds of kindness Yorgos does. Yeah.
I do want to bring up something that I think you're looking forward to, Luis, if I remember correctly. They also just released the first trailer for Beetlejuice.
I'm not gonna watch it.
Oh, okay, all right.
I'm gonna try to go without watching anything for that one.
Oh, okay. Smart.
I tried to do that for Furiosa, but unfortunately, when I rewatched Dune this past weekend, I saw the trailer. So I wasn't able to avoid that.
Fair enough.
But I will try to avoid the Beetlejuice trailer. Beetlejuice.
It's not very. It's very. It's a teaser trailer in
It's
the
a
truest
teaser?
sense. Yeah.
I'm just saying, watching the trailer, like I almost got away with not knowing the Hulk was going to show up in this one. I mean, it's
a friend from work.
A callback
okay,
to when I almost didn't know the Hulk was going to be in Thor Ragnarok.
Almost.
Let's do feature discussion. Roadhouse, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Roadhouse.
All right, so Roadhouse. What's this movie about? I had it right here. God damn it. We've been doing this for 100 episodes.
Ex-UFC fighter.
Talk that talk, Ed.
What's his name?
Dalton takes a job as a bouncer at a Florida Keys Roadhouse, only to discover that this paradise is not all it seems, according to the internet.
I'll just go fuck myself.
The one time Ed was ready to ad-lib, ready to go. Okay.
Yeah, I forgot the name and he took it back.
Well, that's that producer. No dead air.
This movie is directed by Doug Liman, the same guy who directed the Jason Bourne movie, the first one.
The first one.
The Bourne Identity.
Which we might talk about later.
We might talk about that later. This movie came out on Prime Video, and it has Jake Gyllenhaal, Conor McGregor, Post Malone, and Jessica Williams, Lucas Gage, Hannah Love Lanier, and what?
No, straight. Miguel, to shut up.
Oh.
Just shut up, Miguel. Luis is talking.
And this is a remake, obviously. I never saw it. Let me just start off. I never saw the remake.
Me either.
Anyone else? Ed, have you seen the remake? I mean, the original. Sorry.
It's like, yeah, that's what the fucking point was of this whole podcast.
Wow.
I did. Sarah and I watched it the night before we watched the new one.
Okay,
did you
let it teach us? What's the difference? What's the vibe change?
Okay, so 100%. The original one is like the
80s, right?
And just pure 80s on the screen. Like the major difference between the Daltons, they're both called Dalton, by the way. Dalton in the Patrick Swayze Dalton, his like attitude on fighting is more kind of like
Dancing.
His mantra, like his religion kind of thing. He
does he roundhouse kick anyone in that movie?
Yeah, 100
Hell
people.
yeah, hell yeah.
And the biggest thing, he fucking throat rips a guy, and no joke. And it is actually incredibly awesome. But he's also they lean more into the idea of him like actively trying to fix the bar too, managing the bar and like showing the guys how to deal with tough customers and or getting rid of like bad employees, which comes back to bite him later, etc. It's kind of like a more expansive story, and also true to 80s fashion, so many boobs.
Hang on, let me cue it up real quick.
I'm going to take this phrase from our friends at the Movie Gap, Bryce and Chase, when they were talking about that film. There's a lot of Gene to Peen, where Patrick Swayze is going commando in jeans. He's like commando all the time. All the time. He's just like ass naked. It's like pure 80s.
Wait. Real quick. Where does the gene to the peen come in there? You're saying he's ass naked, or are you saying he's going commando in jeans? I need to get the
ass naked
visual
in jeans, but you also see him getting into those jeans. You know
Got
what
it.
I mean?
Gene to peen. Okay.
Yeah, gene to peen.
Cool. Yeah. Believe it or not, I'm going to talk about some male nudity later in this episode. This is going to be a very, very fluid episode.
Is it Conor McGregor?
No, it has nothing to do with Roadhouse. I'll talk about it later.
Okay. So yeah, anyway, like I said, truest 80s movie. I guess it is kind of as ridiculous and explosive in the ending, if not more so. And it's a lot longer, it felt like.
Okay.
The first one.
The first one felt a lot longer.
So in the first one, that Dalton, he didn't have a troubled past as much as this Dalton.
No, he was kind of like a quote-unquote gun for hire to go from bar to bar fixing places. That was his task. And he had one, like kind of like a mentor.
Wait, like the Bar Impossible guy?
Yeah, but like he goes there to kick ass and take names and stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean that guy could too.
And like he has like a mentor slash friend in Sam Elliott, who has never looked sexier.
But does he look as old though? Does he still have that mustache?
Old. No, he's not as old. He does.
It's a brown mustache.
The mustache isn't as prominent. It's all scruff, you know. And his hair looks magnificent. He's
Dalton, you got to get in there, Dalton.
You got me, Dalton.
Dalton.
I see him. Okay.
Yeah. Damn. So yeah. Anyway, so that was cool. It was a cool to watch Ed, those back to back.
I was going to say, as you were the one that actually watched it, and you said you watched it the night before or whatever. What was the vibe going from that one to this one? Did it feel like a letdown, a pickup, or did it feel neutral?
I'm going to say I'm not sentimental about the first one, so I'll just go ahead and say I thought they were almost on par. Like, they both had like, their merits and they both had their downfalls. You know what I mean? They were like, having watched the original prior to, I was just like, well, how can you call this a Roadhouse movie without having a throat rip? Or honestly, unnecessary boobs, or like the most unnecessary sex scene to which that movie ends. That movie ends
on a sex scene.
Basically, Patrick Swayze and the main girl are in a lake naked, just making out, and then it cuts to credits.
Here's why you can't do that, okay? Because you can't immediately roll credits and leave with a hard on, okay? Like, you can't. Don't look at me. Don't look at me right now. No, hang on. Maybe there's a post credit scene. Sit down, okay? We're not going anywhere.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that's how that movie ended. So he sticks around. He sticks around in that one.
Yeah, he does.
And it's so like in the new one, his kind of like attachment to the town is more singular with that dad and daughter bookshop.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Whereas like in the other one, he's basically helping out the whole town, and the whole town comes to bail him out at the end.
Like in Spider-Man when they all throw like things at Green Goblin.
Yeah,
like the whole town comes together and like knocks things out of the bad guy.
Hey, you fight with him, you fight with all of us.
That was good, Ed.
That was good. I feel like
don't let anyone ever tell you can't do an American accent. Don't let everyone say that. Okay, you did great.
You could spew it out.
Natural citizen.
So yeah, there's more of like a community.
It's funny though that you say that, because I do get that. I do, just from what you're saying, because I haven't seen it, I do get the sense that they were trying to kind of nod to those things without being like, we're just going to copy and paste these scenes.
Yeah, no, 100%. And actually, I mean, those things that I'm talking about, like I said, a lot of it is so unnecessary. There's so much like extra story.
Like they kind of streamline it.
They kind of beat it. Yeah, they kind of, no pun intended, they beat it to death. Just like the multiple examples of like guys coming into the bar, wrecking it. Like there are multiple scenes like that kind of thing. And
in the original,
you get, in the original, you see more of how he adjusts to living in that town, and then how the good people and the bad people start responding to him. That's much more drawn out, where this one feels more brief, basically. It skips all of that extra fluff, and they don't lean too hard into the romance, thankfully.
I think that's a thing about older movies as well. Oh, sorry, Ed, go ahead.
No, sorry.
I was going to say, like, in older movies, I just feels like, think about a time before the internet, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where people were a little more like clued in, clocked in to things. Like, you had to really spell things out for audiences to make sure that whether you were super involved or like this was your first movie ever, like you had to understand the whole thing. You know what I mean? So they really spell a lot of things out for you.
Right. This guy is the bad guy.
He's the bad guy?
His 5 scenes to show you why.
Exactly. It's like, okay, I don't think... We don't really need that.
Yeah, exactly. So what I was going to say was that, with that said, there are scenes that do parallel the original movie. For instance, how he meets the girl. She's a doctor at the hospital.
Okay, yeah.
Patrick Swayze, does he bring them in? I think he maybe just goes into the hospital, but that's how they meet. She's stitching him up, you know. So that was similar.
I didn't find that this relationship was very good in this movie.
Well, I
There
feel
wasn't a lot of
like it
chemistry
was
between
told
those two.
over a short period of time,
It
but it
happened
just
very
felt
quick.
kind of more realistic. And if anything, I don't think he was like in love with her, but more of just like, well, she's obviously like one of the few good people around here, and these guys are trying to fuck with her, and her dad's corrupt and shit like that. I don't know. Was it
I don't know
like
if
the
it-
best on-screen romance of all time? No.
Yeah, and when she really digged at him the very first time they met, I thought they were going to be like enemies at this point.
Enemies.
Because she really like stabbed at him, and then she was like, "Hey, you want to go out?" Like, wait, where did this come from?
I've had this happen recently. I felt this, and this is going to be a total random.
You got stabbed and then went to hospital and met.
No, shut up. Shut up, Ed. Don't try comedy in the middle of me talking, okay?
Yes, Ed.
This is kind of the second time recently. I remember when I was watching The Holdovers that I thought the Paul Giamatti and the Mary was her name. I thought they were kind of hinting at them having a little bit of chemistry, and then all of a sudden, it's this other teacher, and Paul Giamatti has kind of feelings for her, and Mary's going this other direction. I feel kind of the same way about Roadhouse. Is I kind of thought they were going to do a thing with the bar owner, whose name I'm blanking on right now.
Yeah, I got those vibes too. They implied that, right?
That's where I thought it was going, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, it's this other girl.
Honestly, I felt like they had more chemistry than.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
She was giving him like.
Yo, hey. she was really good. I liked her a lot. Like I sometimes like I don't want to say unknown, but sometimes like actors that come in and they have to like play against a bigger like well-known actor, like you can tell like they're really trying very hard. And if she felt very natural,
she's great in the TV show Shrinking on Apple TV Plus too.
I'll throw it on.
Yeah.
The owner in the original film was this kind of like older, creepy kind of Texas guy
dude
who owned the Roadhouse. He was like, "Hey, Dalton, I hear you're the best."
Is that Sam Elliott?
Is that really how it happens?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, he comes in.
Where is Dalton hanging out right now? Is he hanging out at another bar, or how does he
at
find
another
Dalton?
bar? He's
like, poaching him, and then the other bar is like, "Yo, what? I'm still hiring this guy. You can't just take him." Does that ever happen? Is that ever an interaction?
They kind of. He's just like Dalton's like, "This is my price," kind of thing. You got to pay up front in cash, whatever. And he's like, "I got it right here." And then he's just like, "All right, you guys got it." And moves on. Okay. He does not try to get hit by a train. This
very depressing.
Dalton is not trying to kill himself.
I will say, I was going to say earlier, but you're right. It is kind of a serious moment in that moment. I never felt like Roadhouse was really taking itself super seriously. You know what I mean? Yeah. They had a lot of fun with it. I laughed a lot at this movie. I thought some bits really landed for me. Yeah, I liked the guy from Broad City who's like the kind of goofy biker dude.
He hit really well.
Yeah, he was fun. He was used just enough too. Like I would definitely like to see him. Oh, well, I'll get to it in a second. But if they were to make a sequel to this movie, like him being kind of like a recurring character, I think would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, without getting too obnoxious, like. Don't turn him into like Jar Jar Binks or whatever.
But speaking of like types of characters that were in this movie, I thought everyone really nailed those roles and never too over the top in a film that could totally go over the top. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were just right in every scene. Like the not the dweeby, but like the son that's like the rich son who's kind of like a brat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I felt like every scene, like I believed him, and I believed that maybe not to Jake Gyllenhaal, but I did believe to other people he was somewhat of a threat. You know what I mean? Sure. And maybe not imposingly, but like his financially. You know what I mean?
Like the one scene I would counter would be like when they're trying to shave him on the boat.
Okay, so this is a great. I want to lead into that back to you, Ed, real quick, because you make a good point. I think I had a good time with the characters, all of them. I think the two things that really was problematic with this movie, was the script itself. I think the dialogue wasn't that great, and I think that the tonally it was kind of a little bit all over the place. But the characters themselves, they played them really well. Like they came in and they knew what part they were playing, and they did a good job. And I really did get locked in until the action sequences kicked in, like that very first bar fight scene with that very first bike gang, and he's doing the whole like how close to the hospital, 25 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he just slowly builds into that, the slap moment. That's when I started getting locked in. But the issue with it, and it goes back to what you're talking about with the boat scene, Ed, is he plays his character really well, but it's just written in a kind of funky, weird way that he has to play it to those words, you know?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And he's doing the most of it. Obviously, he didn't decide, like, maybe you guys should shave me on the yacht. That'll make me pissed off and motivate me as a character.
It does inform you as a person. It's like this guy thinks he can even, like, he's what's it called? Entitled. That even Mother Nature has to bow down to him. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. It was really crazy.
I had a favorite moment that I laughed at in the moment, and I later thought about it because I couldn't stop thinking about it. I wish they would have tweaked it just slightly. When he finally gets to the boat for like the big final climax, you know what I mean? And he's kind of mouthing off to the dude, and the dude, he punches him, and it lands so weakly on his cheek.
Yes, that was a good
that
moment.
bit was hilarious.
Yes,
I
was good.
And it wasn't like every character did that. It was like just the right time. The only tweak that I think would have made it slightly better was if it wasn't the goon, but if it was the main bad guy, the bratty kid. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Okay,
I wish he would have done it because I don't know. I think it would have been hilarious. But something about him just like eating that punch was just like, wow, dude.
He looks so annoyed.
Just like his cheek kind of fluttered a little, and that was it, you know?
The follow-up later when the boss guy is just like, beat the shit out of this guy. And he's just like, fuck. I'm not gonna
I was like, no, go do it. Go do it. No, for real.
Man. Well, let's talk about Jake Gyllenhaal, because tonally, his character is very different, and I would say whereas the original one is funny, but because it's so silly and melodramatic, this one knows it's silly. I feel like it's like knowingly kind of, dumb fun, but I feel like Jake Gyllenhaal really had he was keyed into kind of like the droll humor of this Dalton. He had a lot of funny bits, like physically or otherwise.
This feels like a Jake Gyllenhaal character, you know what I mean? Like if you think about all the times Jake Gyllenhaal was almost Spider-Man or almost Batman, you know what I mean? Like those characters were kind of like beyond Jake Gyllenhaal, you know what I mean? And this is a character that like he could totally make his own. Like I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I liked this movie and would watch a sequel to it. And I think he was perfect for this role. So thumbs up.
Yeah, no, 100%. And fact, I mean, you can't deny the dude looks crazy ripped.
I want to just pivot on what you're saying. Let's talk about Jake Gyllenhaal. He's so ripped. You see him take his shirt off. You're like, absolutely, this man can fight. I'm going to say something with respect to one of my favorite musical artists. Okay, I love Post Malone. Okay, listen. No one, I don't know about you guys. I'm just going to go and speak for you. No one believes that Post Malone was beating up all those people in the beginning of this movie. With respect, okay? He's slimmed down since then, too. He's slimmed down since then. But I was just like, he was like, yeah, I'll fucking fight anyone, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, no.
But I liked what they did with him in that, like, instead of showing... Which, I came to watch Post Malone get beat up by Jake Gyllenhaal, but they set it up like that, only for him to walk away. I like that they just didn't lean into it, and Post was probably like, I don't have time to do all the stunts, man. Just get me out of here.
I was surprised by how little he was in this movie. He has his own poster, and then I was like, when is he coming back? And then he never comes back to the movie.
That's kind of been his thing. Like he was in that Mark Wahlberg movie, Spencer. Do you remember that?
No.
That was very early on in Post Malone's career, and he was just in like one scene. Same with this one. He was barely in the Ninja Turtles movie. Like I just kind of feel like he's too big of an
who was
artist.
in the Ninja Turtles movie?
Ray Filet.
That's him?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay.
I'll tell you what, though, the first time I saw that movie, I thought he was the Paul Rudd character at the Gecko,
Right.
Mondo Gecko. But yeah, no, Post Malone, it just feels like one of those, like, hey, I'm going to act because it's a fun thing, but I don't have the time to really, like, do a whole movie.
Commit.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. I loved the bit. I love Post Malone. They had a song by him at the beginning of the movie. I just am like, listen, he was right to be like, I'm not fighting Jake Gyllenhaal, okay? And he was kind of like the whole bit. Spoiler alert is that Jake Gyllenhaal accidentally killed someone in the ring,
right?
And that's why he's so scary. But it's like, it's Post. Come on, man, you're not gonna.
Contradictory to Post, Conor McGregor comes out.
Let's talk
as this like wild card, chaotic, evil guy, and he's like, let's bring out the big guns. What I don't. He is. People have different opinions about him. What did you guys think about Conor McGregor?
I don't mean to. This is all I'm going to say, and then I'm going to shut up. Is I have kind of quietly found myself becoming a Conor McGregor fan. Before this movie, even like there's just something about him, like the way he just so unabashedly will talk shit straight to your face. It is like, you know what, dude? Fuck yeah, dude. Talk shit about that guy. Like, who gives a shit? What's he gonna do? You know what I mean? And yeah, I know there's like some controversy about his past or whatever, but I just thought there's no one more perfectly cast in a role. You know what I mean? Than Conor McGregor in this role. You know,
I'm gonna have to piggyback off you and agree with you. I think you posted that thing on our Instagram story of just like Conor McGregor the whole time. I was like, just walking around. I laughed so loud when I saw that in our story. That is him, and you know what? Fuck it. I enjoy seeing him.
I loved how late he came into the movie too, because it was like, when's he going to show up? You know,
he's a wild card. You really don't know what's going to happen, and then he just like he kills the person who hires, or no, his like the person he was working for. Like he's just his own force, and I think he is sometimes in his own movie. Like, who are you? Like, we're doing a movie here, and then Conor McGregor just guest stars into this movie a little bit.
Yes.
You know?
He's also just so happy to be there from like start to finish. That grin does not leave his fucking face.
Yeah,
he is so happy the whole time.
That scene where he shows up in Florida and he's like, okay, that big room, that's mine. Oh, also, thank God there's food here. I was so hungry. He starts eating their sandwiches. You know what I mean? And it's just like, that is so Conor McGregor, and it just fits so perfectly into this character.
And physically, he's obviously very foreboding. Like, he's like, you feel at least that he is a threat to everything you've seen. Jake. Yeah, because if you know, there's like a handful of actors that you could probably get away with who feel more physically threatening to Jake Gyllenhaal. But you would know that it was just that. But like you feel kind of like the weight and kind of like you said, the kind of unpredictability of his mannerisms that make it even more kind of wild and exciting.
He did not care about crashing his car at all. Like he just like, I don't give a fuck. Like he just crashed his car to park it. One thing I don't understand is there was that moment when he goes to the Roadhouse and he starts beating up Dalton. And then I thought he was there sent to kill him. And then at the end, they just kind of walk away. They just walk away because the cops arrive. Is that what happened?
Yeah, they were there to stir up shit, basically, and at least get things so bad that like the bar gets wrecked, people, you know,
to kind of scare him away.
Yeah, and like it's not just like Dalton, but also the staff that they're trying to fuck with too. So yeah, that's just how I read it. I think
I really enjoyed. I saw a clip where Jake Gyllenhaal was on some talk show, and he talked about how like, yeah, he's like, I'm pretty fit, like I stay in shape, you know what I mean, just generally. But when I knew that Conor McGregor was going to be like the adversary of this, like I was like, I had to be better than that. Like I had to get ripped because I had to make sure that it seemed believable that the two of them could fight. Because we're kind of repeating a point here, but just like everyone up until that moment, you were like, yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal could beat up whatever.
Yeah.
But that was the first time that you felt like, oh shit, dude, like you might get fucked up here.
Yeah.
So I really appreciated that from Jake Gyllenhaal. I also liked, I think it was Ed, or maybe it was Luis, I can't remember. Someone shared that video of like oh wait, maybe I was just on Instagram. Sometimes I give you guys credit, and I'm just like whatever. But
that rehearsal.
Yeah, that Prime video where they were like, this is them rehearsing that fight, and something that I just kind of expected Conor McGregor to do was to kind of be an asshole to Jake Gyllenhaal in person, in real life. But instead, he was like, yeah, we're going to block this fight. This is what we're going to do. And I really appreciated that both of them were kind of like, we're going to try to make this movie as best as we can.
Yeah, I think you get the vibe that everybody was kind of like on board.
Let's have fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I know I said this on a previous episode, okay? I mentioned that Doug Liman, the director, and Jake Gyllenhaal got on Jeff Bezos' yacht, and they were like, showed him a private screening of the movie, and they were like, we have to release this movie in theaters. And then at the end of the movie, he was like, no. Okay. And it went straight to streaming like it did. Like, here we are now. After watching this movie, let me ask you this. Would you have enjoyed this movie the same if you had seen it in theaters, or was it fun just because you could throw it on and have fun? I mean, just out of curiosity.
I think it was fun just because you could throw it on and have fun. I feel like a big part of that might have to do maybe with like the budgetary issues. I feel like maybe they just took this as what it was at face value. And because like I if we're getting into the nitty gritty, I feel like some of the effects look kind of cheap. You're talking
about the punching in the face, right?
I'm talking about the punching, the crocodile, the explosion later. They added those extra punches to look like there was impact. Yeah, but and that just kind of takes away from the heft of it. Sometimes I feel like I don't know, like sometimes it landed and sometimes it didn't. You know what I mean?
Did you what did you watch?
Stylized.
The first time you watched it, what did you watch it on?
Me?
Yeah, everyone.
Just at home.
Question. On your TV?
Yeah, yeah.
Luis?
I was on an airplane, so I watched it on my iPad with Sarah.
Okay, that's not bad. I watched it on my phone. Okay, like I was at work, so maybe that's why I enjoyed it so much, because I didn't feel any. I thought these effects are fucking amazing. I didn't feel any way about it. I watched it on my tiny little iPad.
I mean, it did pull me a little bit when they did those punches. I understand why they're doing it, because they wanted to feel more impactful. It's like, look, you can actually see them getting punched.
Yeah.
But it still wasn't there all the way. It felt like Uncanny Valley sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I agree with Ed. I think some of the moments really hit. I would have liked to see that on the big screen. I think that what they do is they shoot everything with like a wide angle lens, so it really feels like you're in the fight. And they even have that like POV shot sometimes. Yeah. So it's just kind of swinging back and forth with this like wide ass lens. Yeah. And that would have been cool to be like in the front of a theater, just kind of like, whoa, seeing that effect happening in front of you. But
we're talking about cinematic moments. We talked about that first fight that he has where he starts off with the slaps. That was probably one of my favorite fights of the whole thing.
That's when I got up from my seat. The whole movie, I was like, oh, okay. Because then we got to like the opening, the little girl. I was like, I get it. And then when the slap happened, I was like, oh, and I was awake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, man? Like, you talk about that, though. Like, that's how I felt a lot during the original, because they do really lean hard into that community. Like, he keeps meeting these different characters that he's sympathetic to, whose businesses are affected by this, this bad guy, So I'm glad for the brevity in this one. They really didn't like
streamlined it.
Yeah. But anyway, my point being, let's talk about that end fight between Conor McGregor, the big showdown.
I had a good time. I tell you what, when he they stabbed him, you know what I mean? That the last part of that fight, I really had a good time with it, and I think Metallica kicks in for like just a few seconds.
I don't remember. I'd have to rewatch it, I guess.
Okay, well maybe I
don't
was
remember
just
that.
having an airplane.
I'm gonna take your word for it. Yeah,
I just thought it was like a music beat. I didn't think it was. Yeah, I don't remember that.
Metallica spoke to you through that
at
moment,
that moment.
Yeah. Whether it happened or not, Luis experienced it.
I liked it. I think it was a fun moment. I think in the end, it really amped up the way it was supposed to be. In the middle, I was like, I don't know. I should be feeling a lot more, you know? And then it kind of gets
so. I know this is like tropey or whatever, but if they do a sequel, I want that buddy team up movie with Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor. Did he die at the end of this movie?
He
didn't.
He 100% died.
No, he didn't die. He didn't die.
Ed, he walked out of the hospital.
What? What the fuck are you talking about?
What do you mean?
I will say I don't
where
remember.
He walks out of the hospital and he's like, hey.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, Ed, yes, he does.
I cannot corroborate this. I do remember thinking before that moment, if he does, yes, Ed, I corrected myself. I said if he doesn't die in this movie, they should bring them back and they should buddy team up.
1,000% not dead, y'all. He literally walks out of the hospital laughing.
That's awesome.
In his little moo or whatever.
I'll say this: if he is alive and they do a sequel, okay, I want them to be.
I'm not even alive.
I'm looking.
I believe
now,
you.
Luis.
You can't.
I watched this movie twice, and I don't remember that happening.
But do you remember when we were watching Madam Web and he was like, "I had no idea that was Ben Parker."
Oh my god! You didn't know
That
it was
baby was
Peter Parker
Spider-Man.
either. Yeah, Ben or Peter.
But yo, I'm telling you, like they beat each other up in this movie, and then just imagine them goofing off. Like, because Jake Gyllenhaal, if you think about any movie, like Ryan Reynolds with him in that one movie, him and Heath Ledger, they were goofing off, okay? Like, they were having a good time.
I think, let's see. Yeah, David Leitch. Never mind. David Leitch directed Hobbs and Shaw. I was like, Doug Liman did Hobbs and Shaw, right? No, he didn't. But it's kind of the same thing when you would have, but Conor McGregor's too much of it, like I said, chaotic evil. Kind of, well, are you laughing at that scene now? Are you seeing it now? Do you see what I'm saying, Ed?
He just realized, that's what was happening. He thought it was a dream sequence.
Yes, it's like a semi post credit sequence. It doesn't. It's like a mid credit sequence. There it is. Conor
McGregor's ass.
Right there. See, that's good. That's good. You said I did not watch the credits. I did not keep going.
Okay, yeah, that was like mid credits. I didn't expect that from this movie.
You got to watch all the way through. That's what I'm telling you. That's
I mean, he looked dead as fuck.
So that's what I'm saying. Though they were like, if this is good, he's gonna come back, and that is the natural progression, right? They team up for some bullshit, and they slap each other around, but they have to get along in the end. You know what I mean?
I don't think that's. I mean, Conor McGregor is too much of a wild force. I don't think he's an animal. I don't think there's anything that could steer him. Even Godzilla can team up with Kong. Conor McGregor could not team up with Dalton. Maybe by the third or fourth movie.
But no, just imagine them teaming up, and while they're fighting, he's also beating the shit out of Jake Gyllenhaal. You know what I mean?
I like that too.
Just cause. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's like, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm here for it. I enjoyed this movie. Ed's already seen it twice. I can't believe I haven't watched it a second time. Oh, actually, that's not true. I started it with Kristen. I was telling her we have to watch this movie. She was like, "No, I don't." I was like, "Yes, you do." Okay.
I mean, yeah, no, it's fun. It is like that. That's the positive thing about it is if you were like on the fence about it, you have the option to watch it at home, and it is a laugh. It is like if you just want a dumb action movie that kind of has some laughs to it too, and doesn't take itself too seriously. Like this is that.
Can I say I got hooked early on, and it's when he showed up at the Roadhouse. That Roadhouse, that's a bar I want to get drunk in, like 100%. Okay.
Oh,
first off, live music every time you're there. Okay, behind a cage, which is like dangerous. I love that. But also the fucking views, the Roadhouse itself.
It was beautiful. Yeah.
And y'all, I don't know how y'all feel about Florida. I've been to Florida a few times. I'm not going to talk about like politically about Florida, but like Florida is very beautiful. Okay.
Also, the Keys is like real. I've been to one of the Keys and it was very nice. It felt like Jamaica a little bit.
Very pretty. Okay. Yeah. And it was just like, it was such a vibe. I was like, I would totally spring break here. You know what I mean? Let's do a boys trip. I'm ready to go.
Okay.
Let's pivot.
That was one thing that I thought compared to the original the location of the original is a shithole. It looks like an empty parking lot, basically. But the vibe of it, I don't know if it's just the 80s and comparing it to contemporary setting. You believe that people are more recklessly getting into fights in that movie than in this movie. Like, you just don't.
I feel you.
I feel like that first fight, like when he first arrived, it's the middle of the day and stuff, and that fight breaks out. But like in the background, you see kind of just like this old couple sitting here and like a family over here, and they're all sitting down. They're not alarmed by these people fighting. And you're just like, do people do that these days? Do they just kind of rough and tumble? You buy it more, like, I don't know.
In the older movies?
Yeah, it just feels like out of time, you know. But
it did feel random at moments when there were bar fights. It just felt like, oh, we have to put a bar fight in here to establish that.
You guys got to remember that this shit's rowdy.
Yeah, right, exactly. Like, there's a reason he got hired, etc. But yeah, like maybe they could have like amped that up more. But like the calm beach setting, like you said, it's very, you know, picturesque. Like, you'd want to hang out there for sure.
Also, she's like, I can put you up. And he's like, and then he gets there and she's like, yeah, I'll put you in a hotel. And he's like, I don't know, I could stay on this boat. She's like, oh, I fucking own that boat. I would have loved staying on a boathouse. Okay. Like, I think that shit looked so dope.
Except for the alligator or the crocodile.
You know, now that you mention it, it was a good segue, Ed. He kind of like casually murders that guy. Like, I know it's kind of like manslaughter. It's kind of manslaughter. You know what I mean?
The guy tried to kill him.
Yeah. It's self-defense, I guess. But that kind of gets brushed under the rug. Like, I know the cops in that town are corrupt or whatever, but it's like, you know,
it's like Batman Begins rules. You know, I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you.
I don't have to save you.
But like, you remember, like in Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, he's wanted for murder, and then that just goes away. It was more frustrating that they even brought that up, and that was like a plot point, they never resolved it. So I'm glad, you know, this movie
just move on.
Better for its brevity.
I hear you.
Let's not get into the technicalities. There's a fucking crocodile in Florida.
The crocodile ate him.
Not an alligator.
Well, that does happen. You know that, right?
Crocodiles?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, you know, whatever. But just like, you know, they made the choice to include an animal.
You guys ever
like
seen that?
I was just like, what is this turning into? Like Placid?
There's this video on YouTube or whatever where they're in the Everglades, I'm pretty sure, and the guy is like on a boat and he like splashes his hands in the water, and the guy recording like the video, he goes, hey, don't put your hands in the water. And he's like, man, I'm just splashing my hands, it's no big deal. And he does it again, and then a shark comes out of nowhere and bites his hand and drags him into the water.
Wait, is this a movie?
No, it's a real ass thing that just happened. Like, and the guy's like, oh my God, get him out. And they pull him back on the boat in time. The shark just bites him. It doesn't, like, you know, tear his arm off.
No,
but yeah, like sharks, crocodiles, like random ass things will get into
crocodiles
rivers.
Is like a Florida or that is definitely a Florida
alligators, thing. Yes. But like some of these animals will get into like freshwater environments when they're, you don't think they will be, but they just like, they kind of adapt while they're there.
Sure. I just didn't, you know, it's Florida. You could have gotten away with just saying the alligator.
It could have been an alligator, a big ass. Yeah. Have you seen some of these alligators in these videos? You guys ever get on YouTube, man? They got some pretty crazy fucking videos there. Anyway, man, Roadhouse.
What we all liked it. It sounds like we had a good time with it.
I want to watch it again, and we'll watch a sequel. So whatever.
It's a fun one to throw on for sure.
Yeah, the script is not great. The action is fun. And then the characters do a good job of kind of locking who they are. And tonally, it's a little bit over everywhere, but that's okay. It's a fun movie. That's kind of
and there's a lot of like, as far as action goes, there's a lot of kind of like, oh shit moments.
Yeah.
Like,
but a lot of you know, head scratching moments too. Like, why did he blow up that boat where the girl was being kept hostage too? Couldn't that also killed her?
I think he just did that because
she was in the big boat, and he blew up the boat he came in on.
Yeah, and I think
he blew up. Yeah, he blew up the tiny boat on the big boat.
No, it was like next to it.
It was next to it.
It was parked. Okay, hold on. Are you saying that what if she was
I
next
get
to
what
the
you're
fucking
saying.
little
Like, if
boat?
she was on that side.
If she was in the
that would not
back of
have
the
been
boat and the
he didn't
room,
know. He didn't know where she was. Right?
so he was willing to risk it and just blow her up and blow up the boat. I just felt that was a little ridiculous, dude.
Roadhouse.
Okay, thank you. You're right. Forgive me.
That was the throat rip of the movie.
Oh, there we go.
The throat rip of the movie is like that brutal.
When he punches that guy in the throat.
It's like, I broke this bone in your neck.
I'm over here talking about self-defense. He straight up murders some people. Okay,
he was like, I'm going to start killing people now. Which actually, to be honest, I wanted to see him kill a little bit more people.
He was afraid of.
He was afraid of it, and I didn't see enough of it.
Patrick Swayze kills everyone. Like they should have.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, and the throat rip. I mean, the throat rip is fucking great. Like when it actually happens, I was just like, "Fucking yes, this is Roadhouse. It's everything you want it to be." So, like, I hope if they do make a sequel, there's a throat rip. Like, come on.
Yeah, more killing, more throat rips.
And have you ever seen The Walking Dead? You ever watch that show?
No.
I get why you wouldn't, but I want to say within 4 seasons of the show, okay? I know it's a lot. There's one of the greatest throat rips I've ever seen on
Just
television.
send me that clip, baby.
How about I just send it to you?
It's
helpful if you know the context going into it, but I think you'll like it, okay?
Just let me see the rip.
I got you, bro.
You'll never get that far on The Walking Dead. I think I stopped around that season too.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Did you see the throat rip?
No, I'll just go on YouTube. Let's see.
I'll send it. We'll talk later. I'll send it to you guys.
All right.
One last thing, real quick. This is for the viewers. Okay, let us know in the comments down below. Instagram, YouTube, tag us. Okay. How far down on your shirt is too far down to unbutton? Okay.
For Jake Gyllenhaal, he have that thing wide open.
No, baby. Jake Gyllenhaal's not on this podcast. Okay. Specifically Ed, stand up. How far down is too deep down of a V? Oh my God, I can see your navel. Okay,
my fuzzy navel.
No, I'm just kidding. All right, Ed seems to think that you can. That's too many fucking buttons, Ed. All right,
if it's hot outside and I've been drinking, this is where it's going.
That's where you go.
If I have to, if I'm at home, yeah, fuck it.
Ed, you run hot. You know what I mean? I don't feel like
hot.
I'm never so hot that I need to. I'll just say this: the button all the way at the top of this one, it doesn't even go to the collar. They give you a nice little V up top here. Yeah. I think that's fine. Okay,
that's a little V, low caps, no caps.
It's a small caps V. Yeah, lowercase V.
Yeah, that's so much better.
Shut the fuck up. 100 episodes, you guys.
100 episodes. Can't wait to get off. No, just kidding. Roadhouse.
Do we have what we're into? Are we going to do it?
I watched the Bourne trilogy.
Okay, you want to talk about it?
So you both did that? Weren't you watching the Bourne movies, Miguel, too?
No, but I have seen the first 3 a good amount. So
is this your first time, Luis?
No. We used to. I used to watch this movie a lot in my high school. We had this it doesn't matter. What I'm trying to say is I watched the first Jason Bourne and I realized that was also directed by Doug Liman. I was like, oh, coincidentally, I just watched both Dougie movies without even realize I was watching them.
Dougie.
And it's interesting Dougie Liman. And it definitely a tone difference between the two of them.
Yeah. Now, this was some good fights in that fight. In that movie. Sorry.
That first Bourne movie, if it wasn't a hit that it was, you wouldn't have got the rest of those movies. You know what I mean?
It's been a while since I used to watch them a lot in high school, and then it's been a while since I watched them, so I rewatched them, and I was like, man, these are really fun. These are really good. I'm glad it was definitely a time. What's it called? An era of that time. Where everyone was just locked into the shaky cam, and the movies could have been shitty, but they're written really well.
But the first one's not as shaky cam as the second one is.
No, because it's a new director.
That's Paul Greengrass.
But they're all written by Tony Gilroy, who really helps ground that series. Also, the guy who does Andor.
And Michael Clayton
and Rogue One.
Bourne 3.
Rogue One.
And Bourne Legacy too. He directed Born Legacy.
Did you watch that one?
Yeah, I've seen that one too. I actually haven't seen the
I've never
new
seen that
Jason Bourne.
Was that any good though? Legacy?
It was okay. It was not as entertaining as the other Bournes have like a hook. You know, they bring you in, and I think Born Legacy is kind of a slow
Jason
burner.
Bourne. Yeah.
If you're into the Bourne lore world, then yeah, it's like fun because basically the story's being told while Bourne Ultimatum is happening. And so
man, they do that. That's so interesting because I feel like Bourne 2 and 3, they overlap each other. Like by the end of Bourne 2, Bourne 3 has kind of happened. You know what I mean? If I remember correctly, like there's a scene in Bourne 2 where he's like, I'm in New York, and then Bourne 3 is all about him being in New York.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Bourne 2 ends with him.
Well, they all have like a similar kind of plot.
I gotta go back and watch this. That's interesting.
Bourne 1, he's trying to figure out who he is. Bourne 2, they bring him back, and Bourne 3, he's hunting them down. Basically, is the
but if I remember correctly,
in the second one, he's saying he's repenting for the crimes that he did because he remembers that he killed this mom and dad. At the very end, he goes to the daughter and he says, "I'm sorry. Just so you know, your mom didn't kill your father and kill herself. I killed them, and I thought you should know." And then he just walks away, and then the movie just kind of ends.
I gotta watch those again. Those are great movies.
Yeah, they're great. They shouldn't be as good as they are, and they're really entertaining. The thing is like also shout out to the cam operator, the cinematographer, and the director for these movies because people tried to replicate the shaky cam fight thing, and they think they can get away with it, and it's put a bad name. Yeah, it's put a bad name on. Do you remember people recreating that? That's why these John Wick movies are so good because they're wide angle fight scenes. But rewatching these Bourne movies, I'm like, okay, it is a little chaotic. But they are capturing like key moments of like, here's a punch, little shake, here's a this, little shake. It's not just shake all around. Yeah. There is pure intention going from like beat, move, beat, move, beat. Like I think it's orchestrated really well.
Luis, which one is it where he jumps from one window through to the other?
The third one.
The third one. Yeah. Where there's that behind the scenes shot where the camera guy is jumping right behind him. You know what I mean? Like there's commitment there, dude. I watched that first one about 1,000,000 times, and when I saw the third one, I remember walking away from the third movie going like, "Oh, it's really hard to nail a trilogy," and I really feel like that first three did that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like every movie is good, and the third one is almost better. You know what I mean than the first two. So
yeah, it's just Jason Bourne a full force just coming at you kind of thing.
Yeah,
I haven't seen Jason Bourne the movie, like the 2016
the latest one from like 10 years ago or whatever.
Yeah, I think he there's a car chase scene in Vegas. I remember from a trailer. But I am going to watch it, and I will be talking about it.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna do this week. Okay, like I'm gonna start watching them tomorrow.
The Bournes?
Yeah. That sounds fun.
Luis, have you been? You said you were rewatching X-Men. Have you been doing that?
Yeah, I'm in there are 5 seasons. I'm in the 4th season right now. I think I'm on episode 13. I have about 16 more episodes left till I'm done with the original animated series. Okay. And then once I'm done with that, then I'm jumping over to X-Men 97. Yeah.
How many episodes are in the season?
I think it goes 12, 13, 19, 21, and then 12 again. So the first...
And they go insanely quickly. I just got into season 2 today.
Yeah, they're 21 minutes, and 2 minutes is mostly a recap and the intro. So if you don't want to know what happened... And yeah, well, the outro is very quick. It's like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But yeah, that if it's like previously on, just skip all the way 2 minutes and then you'll be caught up to the episode. And they love doing montages. I notice sometimes like they'll just replay scenes that they've already like drawn in other episodes. Like, oh,
we gotta fill out these episodes. You're on a budget. Okay? You know? This shit's not free, all right?
But man, rewatching it, it's crazy just seeing kind of these kind of cool designs and like when like that action theme kicks in.
Yes.
I mean, it's cool. There's some cool shots in it. It's very 80s, obviously. It's very of that style. I will go ahead and say I watched the very first 2 episodes they released for X-Men 97. Man, it was I was surprised at how much not only they nailed it, but embellished upon it. And like the story is quite gripping.
I'm very excited. I've been hearing good things about it, and I want to have all the background information for it. So,
I was just like, oh shit, they're going there. And the themes with X-Men in general have always been, kind of deep. Even in the original animated show, like the first season kind of hurries along at such a rapid pace, but they cover a lot of deep stories embedded in the X-Men.
A lot of those stories could be relevant right now about like all this like human hate and
100%. And I would love for them to, which they inevitably will, get back into live action X-Men, is lend that to like real situations going on now. I think it's the perfect time for that. But yeah, anyway, it's been fun rewatching it. And I just finished like Days of Future Past, which was cool.
Oh yeah. I tried to watch. I've never seen Apocalypse or Dark Phoenix.
I couldn't believe how early they were showing Apocalypse in the first season.
Oh no, I'm sorry. The movies, the live action movies.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Yes. Sorry.
I've never seen. I saw Apocalypse recently because I was like watching so many of the animated. So I was like, okay, let me see some real action X-Men, and I haven't seen Apocalypse or Dark Phoenix. Oh, Apocalypse is not a good movie. Like
it's not.
I don't even know what we're doing the first hour. It's like, why are we even doing this? It is such not a mess. Important.
The animated Apocalypse was far more effective.
Yeah.
Wasted potential. But the Days of Future Past movie is great.
Gotta rewatch that one.
But I love that one.
I try to watch all these animated episodes before the new one came out. Obviously, got really busy, so I couldn't do it. So now I'm just in the catch up, and I'm happy that they're releasing them weekly. So hopefully by the series or season finale, I'll be able to be all caught up.
Yeah.
But cool.
I'm gonna skip this one. Yeah, not a big X-Men animated guy. Sorry.
No, we've had this discussion, but I was curious to see how far along Luis was.
No, you don't care what I'm into?
What are you into, Miguel?
No. I've been watching things. I mean, if you're curious,
Predator.
Okay. Yeah, you want to talk Predator for a second? This was like a week ago, so it's been a minute. I have to kind of refresh my memory. But I told you guys I did like a whole Alien rewatch a few weeks ago, and so I just kind of naturally picked up Predator as well.
Yeah,
and I kind of have done them in reverse. Like I did the Predator that came out 4 or 5 years ago. I did Predators.
Did you watch Prey?
I've seen Prey already, so I haven't gone back and rewatched that yet. But I have seen Prey. Yes, okay. I watched Alien versus Predator because I was doing Aliens, and then I watched Predator 2. So I'm still working my way backwards on that franchise.
So you didn't do Predators with Adrian Brody?
No, I did.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I did all those leading up to this one.
Okay. My bad.
And I had seen Predator 2 for some reason. I'm pretty sure we had that on DVD in my house, but it wasn't one that we watched a lot because it was pretty graphic. So I definitely saw it once when I was younger, and I didn't remember a lot of it for this review. Have you guys seen these movies? Have you seen one and two?
I'm in the edge of my seat waiting to hear what you have to say because I watched this when I was little, and I have glimpses of this movie. I remember like New York. I remember Donald Glover.
It's LA.
Oh, LA. Yeah. Okay, LA. I remember Donald Glover. I remember being inside of a ship. I just have glimpses. I don't remember if it being good. I feel like I had a good time with it.
So this was one of those. This was early on in the Predator franchise, which they were kind of leaning from the first movie, I'm sure as well. I have to go back and watch it. But there's a theme today, if you're watching a new Predator movie, that those first two movies really set up. And it's like, oh, if you kill a predator, then you are like a god to them. You know what I mean? And so there is a moment where Danny Glover kills the predator at the end of the movie on the ship. You know what I mean? Oh. And it's super dope. And they all show up. The other predators show up, and they give him a souvenir, and they're kind of like, okay, big dog, we'll see you next time. You know what I mean?
Oh, is that what happens?
And actually, Luis, talking about Prey, I had to look this up. They give him like so at the beginning of this, who yawned? Fucking shut up, okay? This podcast is almost over, okay?
I'm sorry.
In a couple of the movies I've watched, they've talked about how the Predator has been on the Earth a couple times, and they referenced the '80s movie and they referenced the '90s movie. But one of the things that in a couple of the movies they show is, it's actually been a long time they've been coming to the Earth.
Uh-huh.
At the end of Predators 2, he kills the Predator, and one of the other tribe's Predators, they give him like a gun, like a pirate gun from like the 1800s, 1700s or whatever. And apparently the name on that gun is referenced in Prey. Yeah, I had to look that up because I was like, whoa, hang on a second. Is this a correlation? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that was the way that Prey kind of tied into the franchise.
Like,
you know what I mean? That was like a real person that was killed, and I guess you see him in Prey or whatever.
Interesting.
Wait, so did you like Predator 2?
I did. It was fun. It was very of the time. I mean, talking about like Roadhouse earlier, like the 80s version, like it is very of the time. Very like we need to say these plot points a lot. Yeah. You know what I mean? I did think it was just like, it was very grimy also. Like it was kind of like, I would hate to live in this. Like they're in like LA during a heat wave. Like he changes shirts a lot in the middle of scenes just because he's like pitted up the shirt he's wearing. You know what I mean? And the like obviously like the effects or whatever are very dated. But if you just kind of try to buy into it, it feels fun. Nick Nolte is the like human bad guy. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
And it's I'm sorry, not Nick Nolte. Gary Busey.
Gary Busey. I understand the confusion. Yes.
Yeah, and he's like the FBI agent. They tried to end the Predator, the 2018 movie or whatever before Prey came out. They do a very similar. Sterling K. Brown plays a very similar type. It's like the government guy that knows the predators exist and they're trying to capture him. And so that was all the way back then. One of the highlights of the movie is when he goes on the ship. This is the first time they even tell you that the alien also exists in this universe. And the whole movie is him like collecting skulls as like trophies. And when he gets on the ship for the first time, the alien skull is one of the trophies that he has.
Yes, I think I remember
that was a dope moment. Fuck, my camera's messing up. Some kind of like weird stereotypical like racial things are happening. Like, I don't know. They're like, one of the gangs is an all black gang and it's the Voodoo Gang. And it's like, I don't really understand why they're in LA. Like that's a very like
Florida, New Orleans.
It feels like a regional, like Louisiana, Florida, like regional thing, but whatever. It's okay. It's okay. No, I don't know. I'm rambling now. It was fun. I'm definitely looking forward to going back and watching the original. You know what I mean? At this point, because I did Terminator recently too.
Oh, you did Terminator? Did you do 1 or 2?
I did 1 and 2.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So I've done like Aliens, Predators. So that's why I talked about Bill Paxton on the text thread, because I've now seen Bill Paxton be killed by the Alien, the Predator, and the Terminator. Oh, I've done my trilogy. Okay, but I will say. He was kind of douchey. He's in Predator 2. He's a little douchey at the beginning of the movie, but he really like, the whole thing is, Donald Glover gives him a speech like, hey kid, if you're going to join my squad, like you need to understand, like it's the team first. You know what I mean? Yeah. Which is kind of corrupt policing. We're going to talk about that, whatever. Okay. But he was like, the team comes first, but he really brings that in instead of him being like this hotshot kid. Like I expected him to be killed because he was cocky, but he's actually killed, like trying to save hit not only people but his teammate. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And of all the Bill Paxton killings, this one was like kind of the most honorable. Like he was really trying in that moment. So I liked him in this movie. Yeah, is it something I'm going to watch 10 more times? Probably not, but it was definitely a fun viewing of all of these so far. And I have one more thing I want to talk about, the thing that I really want to talk about, but I can wait if Ed has something else he wants. I know he's yawning, so I don't want to keep him up too much.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No. Go ahead.
I just mentioned earlier male nudity, and I just really wanted to talk about that in my last little bit. Yeah, you wanted to hear more about that, Ed?
You have my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
Go on. Let's hang dong. Let's go.
Why did that perk me up? Oh man! All right,
I'm awake. Now listen, for the Zack Snyder fans. Okay, I got something for you. Okay, I watched for the very first time all the way through just today. I watched the 2009 film Watchmen. Okay,
did you watch the director's cut?
No, I didn't. I was on HBO or whatever. I'm sorry. Okay, it's my first time. I tried to be like authentic with it. Okay. I have seen the beginning of this movie about 1 billion times. It feels like y'all know how I feel about Zack Snyder. Ed immediately lost interest. Look at him. He was like, oh, fuck.
I thought you were going to talk about male nudity.
Baby. Okay. The amount of male nudity in this movie was off the charts. I was like, how much crack can I see before this movie ends? Okay. And Dr. Manhattan, he hangs dong the entire time, basically. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Well, isn't that like how it is in the comics?
You saw it on IMAX? I bet it looked huge.
Yeah. Whoa!
the jiggle effects are there.
Well, because wasn't he oversized? I haven't seen the movie.
He was at one point. He's
like oversized
a couple different times. Yeah, he's like giant man at one point.
Yeah.
No, so this is my first time seeing this movie. I will say this. Is this my favorite movie ever? No. Is it something I'm going to rewatch a ton? Probably not, but I maybe watch it again. I do understand after watching this movie why WB gave him the DC universe. Okay. Yeah. There were a lot of moments in this movie, and you could talk about the slow-mo and how yada yada yada. I get that. But there were some really great shots in this movie. I am not one for like comic adaptability. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think every comic book movie needs to be like a frame by frame or whatever. But Zack Snyder did that, and he did it well. Okay. Like, they looked like ripped straight from the page, and he gave it authenticity, which I thought was really fun to watch. I watched it over like a day or so. And I thought when they finally like suit up as superheroes and do the whole superhero movie, that's like the last hour of this movie.
Yeah.
And it felt very earned. Like everything leading up to it, I was like, okay, I'm ready for it. So much nudity that I was like, I don't think this is necessary. And it's so much male ass crack. Like Dr. Manhattan, you're like, I guess I kind of understand why, you know?
Why would he wear clothes?
Then at one point, like the owl man, like where they just kind of like almost have sex, and then he wakes up in the middle of the night and he's like, I fucking want to be Owl Man again. And he's like standing naked in front of the suit. But also, that was like Batman. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
And I understand why Zack Snyder got Batman off of that. You know what I mean? Like, I see why the fight scene in the jail and the fight scene between them and Ozymandias, like, I saw the lead up to the Batman in the warehouse scene in Batman versus Superman. There is a clear like vision, and it's understandable that Zack Snyder was given those reins. You know what I mean? I do think I do think Watchmen was a much better superhero film than anything Zack Snyder did in the DC universe. I was a little let down by the end of the movie. It just kind of like wraps up after like this kind of genocide that happens. Like all of these people, I don't know if you guys have seen the movie, like all of these people get like millions of people die. And then Dr. Manhattan is like, well, you know, he's kind of got a point. And you're like, oh,
And in the comics, it was a big like squid or octopus that takes over the city.
Oh,
which they reference in the series.
Yeah.
So I've seen the series. I really enjoyed the TV show.
I've never seen a TV show.
It's been a couple of years since I've watched it.
I hear it's really good.
I'm going to go back.
You would love it. Yeah.
I loved it. I'm going to go back and watch it just so I can now kind of put it into perspective.
Yeah.
But I loved it on the first one, which is kind of why I was like, oh, I was on the internet a couple of weeks ago and someone was talking about how The Watchmen was like one of the greatest movies, yada, yada, and this and that about it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to actually give it a go. Yeah, it was fun. I thought all the, like the top three main superheroes, like the Owl, Miss Jupiter and Rorschach, whatever his name is.
Rorschach.
How do you say that? They were all really great. I loved all three of their moments, and I also really like Dr. Manhattan, even though his big blue dong was hanging out the entire time. Okay, I liked him. I thought he was cool. I liked what he could do.
I really, it's been a while since I've watched it, but I like that
2009.
movie. Yeah, I like that movie. I've seen it a few times, and it does help to give a little context to the show, even though what they do in the show is vastly different, but it works
Absolutely.
in the same realm. But it was, it like you said, it's a really good cast, and it was at a time where, even though there was like a lot of slow-mo, it still felt more practical than it did. I'm not gonna. It doesn't matter.
No.
I'm just saying, like it's. It felt more.
Right for that product, you know what I mean?
Like there's more, oomph to it. I don't know.
The slow mo, but that's more what I was saying. Was he really leaned into the slow mo after a while, and it was like, please stop, okay? Like,
or just like some sort of a little variety, like mix it up a little bit. Don't just like slow it down even more.
But he really understood some of those shots. Like some of them
similarly
are
with
visually
300.
amazing.
300 is an awesome film, visually, stylistically, and looking at the comic book or the graphic novel, like it is like frame for frame those kind of shots, but it works so well, and it's just like I feel like he didn't have the same visual language. He was like trying to throw a lot of things together in Batman and Superman and the Justice League, but it was just like overstuffed. I don't know, but
I feel like Watchmen gave him too much confidence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What I mean,
I don't know. It's a flood, but that also brought on the reign of the fucking director's cut.
Yeah,
you're so right. You're so right.
Also, this movie, I remember, had a really good trailer too.
Yeah.
It's like something. They'll scream up at us and say, and we'll say no.
Yeah. And then the rain drops.
That's the thing.
Smashing Pumpkins.
He's so good in this movie. Like, I loved that character. There is one moment where he gets framed for killing that guy, and then he gets arrested, that I could not stop thinking about for the rest of the movie. Rorschach. How do you say that word?
Rorschach. I say Rorschach.
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 You know what I'm trying to say. Okay.
Yeah, but just say it.
No, I have a hard time saying motor. I have to really be very specific about that word. Like I used to say murder. Like I used to get caught up on the O and the R, and I don't know what that is. But anyway, there was one moment in the movie where he gets like framed and he gets caught, and he's like, "Oh no!" and he gets caught or whatever by the police. And for some reason, they throw it in there, and it just like really colored the character for me. But one of the cops grabs him and he goes, "Oh my god, he stinks!" And that's all I could think about every time he was on screen for the rest of the movie.
Interesting.
I was like, "Oh my god." He's wearing this mask and this like trench coat, and he's like devoted his life to crime fighting in this like very like altruistic sense.
It's a good line.
And it's like that really gave it character. Yes. It was like, yes, dude, this dude fucking reeks. You think he's got time to shower? He's not taking the shit off. He's over here fucking, I'm gonna kill everyone I can until I'm fucking done. And I don't have time for hygiene. You know what I mean? No, dude, he was really good. He was my favorite part.
I got to rewatch. It's been a long time since I've watched Watchmen. So,
Rewatch.
I think. Just looking at this trailer and the visuals of it, they do look really cool. And you're right. It makes sense why they would have given him DC. But it's just it does not translate to those other movies at all for some reason. Like I think he just couldn't.
And you know what it is because it's like the Game of Thrones thing where the first 3 or 4 seasons they adapted it because they had the material right in front of them.
Yeah.
But once he started kind of like making his own choices, it was like,
I also think that they just like some of these shots are just like strongly constructed. You know what I mean? Where like things were things were given time to develop the look of it. Because I'm looking at some of the stuff and it's just like well framed, you know?
the studio also is, when they came to him with that, they were like, we want that, but on these characters, as opposed
and also
to creating
on these
something.
terms, you know what I mean?
Yeah, instead of creating something a little bit more organic to those characters, you're just replicating what you've done in that movie in a completely different universe, and you're putting it on that same filter on this universe.
On this thing. Yes, exactly. Yeah. I watched the movie for the full time today, and I was just like, I know I talk a lot of shit about Zack Snyder, but I did want to kind of give him some credit for like the things that he was actually good at.
He obviously did something to get where he is now. Like, and like I said, I saw 300 in IMAX, and that was fucking incredible.
I want to say I saw it with you. Like, I definitely remember seeing 300 in the theaters, and that was a great movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But both of those movies feel very of the time. You know what I mean? 07, 09 type deal. Like,
this time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What a crazy
100 fucking episodes, you guys.
100 episodes. Sorry, that sounded like I was making fun of you.
Yeah, it did.
100 episodes. That's not what I meant. Sorry.
Ed will not be in the next 100 episodes.
It was a 100 episode engagement. Thank you guys so much for having me. Contract is up. I'm free. We didn't. You guys opted not to renew. That's okay. I get it. But thanks for the good times.
Find out next week to see who Ed's replacement is. But until
probably
then,
Steven.
It's probably Steven.
Steven's just been waiting. He's like, you guys have been saying it's been me every single week. I'm waiting.
Yeah.
I'm waiting.
Been cultivating this for a while.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening so much to our 100 episodes. It's been a pleasure, and we have so many more to come. It's been me, Luis Gonzalez, and with me's been
Miguel Sanchez
and Deadpool.
And until next time, later, Gators. I see you. And remember, cousin, you are Knuff. And in the words of Madame Web, don't do dumb things. Bye-bye.
Yeah.